All right, everyone. So I'm here with Hunter C. Smith. He's an actor, stunt performer, and a creature performer, as well as a voiceover artist. He does just about everything, you guys. So check him out.
I never did understand Kameen anatomy. What did you do with Kyrie? I'll kill you!
We're currently promoting his current film, Alien Planet. Go ahead and give us some more detail on that, Hunter.
Alien Planet is a sci-fi adventure movie that is kind of a practical effects throwback to the kind of like Enemy Mine 80s films that we all kind of grew up with and fantasized about. So in this film, the thing that sets it apart from other films of its kind is that it's only aliens. There's no humans whatsoever. So normally we set the audience with a anchor to connect to, the human that they can trust, and then an alien that they see the differences in. Only problem was that it was generally a white human, and the alien was expected to be the minority. So in this film, we've set aside no humans to be the emotional anchor for the audience, so you can choose which one you align more with, and even still they both have a kind of a good rap and a bad rap. They have good points and bad points.
Nice. And they speak English, or is this an alien made language?
We'll be speaking English in this one for the ease of translatorship and the universal message.
Nice. And so what is your character? Can we talk about your character?
My character, what I can say is he's a Kameen from the planet Kameen, and he's basically a former warrior, former soldier that's kind of taken his retirement, is done with the fighting, done with the war, and is ready to just kind of ease it out, and is called back for one last mission. And so it's got a hint of that Fifth Element kind of vibe, which I loved about it, of this gruff son of a gun being pulled back, but he's got a soft side as well. And he just has to do something that's like, are you kidding me? There's no one else? We're this screwed that we have to do this? Okay. And it becomes, can you put up with your hated enemy in hopes of achieving a better cause, a better goal?
Nice. That sounds wicked sweet, man. Can we talk about how it was getting into character and what that process was like?
For sure. So we started with just the auditions of, he really wanted to see how I dealt with, because a big part of this movie for the creator is having us really just knock the hell out of. So we get ripped apart, crushed, bleeding, exposed. For a good bit of the movie, I'm jacked up. So it becomes pulling will and rage and all the different things that keep you going in those moments when you're just exhausted and beaten down, and reaching deep to find that willpower to continue on. But in the setup for the character and putting in the teeth and everything, there's the added effort of elocution and diction, getting past all of that and being heard. And the first time that I put the teeth in, my director's like, can we do it without the accent? And I was like, that's not an accent. That's just me having to vocalize so that you can understand what I'm saying. He's,
Boy.
Honestly, when I put the prosthetics on for the first time and I had the face, cowl, and chest piece, the way in which your skin feels like the air passing around you, and the way in which your breathing is constricted, and you can feel the skin like flexing and going with your skin and nose, it totally changes your perception of how this creature feels the elements. And then I like to go back and regress it from, like, we're all animal brain anyway, so food, shelter, sex, it's like those are the three basic things we need. So in this kind of creature's past history, what would be their biological memory? What would be their kind of lizard brain reset of, it's always nose first versus visual first, and then do they, like lizards, taste the sense on the tongue by opening up the mouth and drawing it in. And it just gave me a lot more to work with once everything was layered on.
Absolutely. Now, how long did it take to get into this entire outfit?
About 3 hours in the makeup chair, and she was really sweet, and it took about 2 hours getting off. And she was working all day. Alexis Powell was amazing. She took the RBFX prosthetics because it being a 1 day shoot where we had to do a full 1 minute and 20-second trailer back to back to back to back. She had me in the chair first. As soon as I was done, my co-star went in. As soon as he was done, the next guy went in. And then as soon as he was done, I got back in the chair to start getting out. It was her full day for her. So Alexis, you rule. Because at some points they had to cut it off of me. So it's like smooth it out, smooth it out, smooth it out, and then just start snipping once it's clear enough and not attached anymore. And it's just so painful because they're expensive, beautiful prosthetics. And I was like, we can't reuse these? They're like, no. And I was like, but it's beautiful.
Oh, man.
What I really wish we had time for was like a photo shoot on the day outside of it, but we were so pressed for time. It was run and gun all day.
Really, you didn't get to squeeze in a photo shoot of some really sweet alien, some shots. That would have been wicked sweet.
We got what we could of the BTS, but our BTS photographer, Kaylee, was just all over the place, jumping in, helping out, running the set as well. Everyone came together to make the project what it was. It was a very bare bones project and a skeleton crew, which is why my buddy Donald Russell played 2 of the characters in the film. He just got made up differently for each one. In the final, it'll be a whole new cast, but yeah, it's rocking.
So as far as the crowdfunding project goes, you guys are pretty far along right now, right? It's like really exciting. You guys are pretty close.
Our initial goal of $30,000, which was like the bare bones we needed to get this thing in the can, was met within the first week, and that floored us. We were so happy to receive that response and see how many of our friends and supporters really liked what we put out and believed in us. And it has already climbed to 50,000, and we're trying to hit 60,000 to double our initial goal by the end of the campaign. It's a big push, but we think we got it, and we think that if people see this and appreciate it, then they're really going to want to support it.
That's wicked sweet, man. I'm sure they're going to, especially after watching this, and we get more exposure and we keep just getting the name out there. I mean, I'm sure you guys already accomplished your goal well ahead of your schedule, and then you hit it again. So you guys are just breaking records left and right.
It feels so nice. And like the director came to me and he's like, so are you going to be okay if we don't like bump your rate for the shoot? I go, don't bump my rate. I'm like, put that money into the production. I was like, we want it to look beautiful and be as amazing as possible. So we're talking about more action, more shoot days, and more time to really focus on getting all those necessary, lovely shots that don't just get the story told, but dive in.
Yeah, I got excited just thinking about watching the final product.
We're really hoping to bring back those childhood memories and inspire the next generation, as well as just tackle some of those issues that are out there now and always have been, but seeing how grudges and hatred don't lead to anything but more misery for everyone.
Yep, you said it. You said it. Is it? Do we have to see to believe, Hunter?
Hell no! Definitely don't have to see to believe. And is there? What interests me more than the possibility of aliens necessarily, or like direct contact with aliens, is human prehistory, the stuff that we lost, the stuff that we don't have access to, and the technology that obviously existed, that we were obviously capable of, but that we can't figure out right now.
We may have integrated in the past and gotten past some huge milestones. We didn't get along. We disagreed over some fruit, and then here we are reassessing. And now we got hybrid vehicles.
Even talking about like the way in which they talk about the Africa burning and the exodus out of Africa, and how it was a global shift of the entire landscape. And it's like, what do you attribute that to but the gods? What do you attribute that to but this? It's like when people didn't know how to process trauma, They had to point at something and say, okay, but if we do this, maybe they'll forgive us or allow us to continue on. And as humans will always find a way to find hope, and whether that's through gods or aliens or a preservation of life beyond what we know. Because if we keep seeing our own world as all that's there, then we lose that wonder. We lose that reaching for the stars.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where were you born?
I was born Corpus Christi, Texas. Go Body of Christ. I started my first play actually when I was 10. I went to a summer theater camp and they let me be Max and Where the Wild Things Are. And
nice.
It was the best introduction to theater that I could possibly have. It's like, you're going to give me a fur coat, cape, a crown, and a stick, and have me scream and dance and lead a bunch of monsters. That's awesome. And then 2 weeks later, I went back to a camp at the same place, but it was supposed to be a clay camp, but it had a theatrical element. And the teacher didn't think anyone would take that same class, so she did the same play. But in this case, I was one of the older students, not one of the younger students like before. So she had me play the dad and the narrator. So within my first month of exposure to acting, I got to play two different complete sides of the coin and just see things from an entirely different perspective. And I love that. When I went on to my next educational institution, I saw theater done with effort for the first time, where it was two brothers out in the woods having a campfire, and one pissed the other one off to the point where he was struck and killed accidentally, and then the other one lost his shit over killing his brother. Then another scene called Children of a Lesser God, I think it is, where a deaf girl is communicating with her boyfriend who speaks sign and English, and he doesn't see her, doesn't validate her as a full human. And it's like, I was 13 at this point going, oh my God. I was like, these people are living full, real lives, and I have no connection to any of that. And I was a very sheltered kid. And so this idea of living beyond in a safe realm, in a safe world, was very intriguing to me. So I went through high school doing theater, graduated theater, went to college, did theater, didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was like, just keep moving. Ended up studying abroad because of my theater professor, and that took me to Japan. Did hip hop dance when I was there because they didn't have a good theater club. And so that brought me into a whole movement realm that when I came back, I found movement theater like Butoh and Kabuki, and working with Paradox Pollock, who worked as a movement coordinator on one of the Star Treks and a recent show on Apple Plus TV. But he was great at bringing in primal forces like put fire into your body and then create a fire deity and then have a fight using fire magic. And it was like, okay, cool, this is different. This whole physical awareness took me to stunt school, which I had found out from a grad actor friend of mine. That took me to a stage combat conference up in Banff, Alberta called Paddy Crane, where I met an entire global family of fight performers, Western martial arts practitioners, and stunt performers.
Were you already athletic before that? Were you already pretty acrobatic, or were you having to play catch up with all of these people? Because you must have had some people around you who were pretty, ready to go and just get, some roast performers.
I wish that I had stayed with acrobatics and with gymnastics, but I did tennis for 8 years and then took a break from that when I went into theater hardcore because there just wasn't time for it. Did a little bit of crew rowing in college and then ripped my Achilles tendon up, so I had to put a hold on that. So when I got to stunt school and I was surrounded by these super athletes and gymnasts, it was a bit daunting. But I brought in the acting side of it, and I brought in the physical understanding and awareness side of it. And that's kind of where I moved into with my fight choreography. Was I was more interested in telling the story of the fight, the moment before, the moments after, seeing how the fight changed the characters in it, not just going, okay, clash. Okay, what cool moves do you have? It became so much less about showing off a technique than about understanding a motivation for why is violence necessary, and what brought what them to this point, and then when they kill the other person or defeat the other person, what it does to them. And it's not just I get to go off and achieve my goal now. A part of me is lost in having done what I've done. Even if you're that's what I loved about coming out here and going to acting school with Baron Brown, is they taught that even if you're a professional killer, your relationship to the kill has to still be tangible and real. It's just dialed down to a level where you're taking care of sick puppies. You're a veterinarian who has a job to do. And yes, of course, it deserves to live, but not anymore. It's just not time for it. And so it becomes a beneficent act that removes the villain in them, because everyone's their own hero. And that's what I love playing villains as, is finding the vulnerability and the humanity. So yeah.
Finding the vulnerability and the humanity, even in the stunt performances, what leads up to it and what happens after, how someone is affected by it. That's really interesting, you saying that. How did you learn to tune into that? How did you learn to flex that muscle? What was that like getting into?
Well, that was from the Patty Crane Stage Combat Conference in Banff. Every 2 years, I went back there and trained with fight directors and stunt performers and movement directors from New York, from England, from Canada, Poland. It was so many wonderful, amazing teachers, but they made it so much more about every moment, every storytelling, because it's 1, 2, 3s. You got to lead the audience and tell the audience. So much of stunt performance has become this performed effort. Like, good. And it's like, okay, cool, but that's only one choice. And you have like the thing that's beautiful that I got at the Patty Crane that comes from instructors in Australia who have passed it along and along and along. But it's a character breakdown for combat. And so you have a number 1 who is, I have skill and I want to hurt you. And number 2 is I have skill and I don't want to hurt you. And number 3 is I have some skill, no skill, but I do want to hurt you. And number 4 is I don't have skill and I don't want to hurt you, a bystander. So the stories become, if I have a mission, if I have a goal and it's out here and someone comes in my way, whether they're a 1, someone who's a badass who wants to kill me, or a 3, a thug who just wants to hurt me, is fighting them worth the time it takes me away from my goal? And then what must they do to provoke me into joining them in that decision to combat? What brings me from a 2 to a 1? What bit of information do they reveal that they have my sister hostage, or they have, what do they have on me that makes me stop going after what I want and now focus on them? And then at what point can I break out of it? It just adds so many more layers to action and to the struggle of the hero that we just glaze over so often.
People don't even catch these things, and we're hearing it here today firsthand that there's so many layers to it. Now, moving forward, you guys what's the next plan with Alien Planet? What can you tell us about Alien Planet, that leading forward after the crowdfunding project? What's next?
Well, our director has a pre-planning stage for a couple months. We're hoping to start shooting in summer. We will definitely be shooting by November at the latest. But we're getting all our ducks in order. The one thing I love about Alan, he's a creature performer and editor by trade, so he understands the shots he needs as well as the best ways to get them from being in the suit and having done it. So he was so ready for the day that we shot the trailer, that the only way that we could have finagled us in and out of the makeup chairs with one person and hitting every scene and doing everything was having it so streamlined that he knew his shot list, knew his shot order. So he's going to do his diligence and get everything lined up, and then we're going to go bang-a-rang and shoot for 2 weeks and knock it out.
Very nice. Well, that's very exciting, and I think we're all ready to see it. We're all so excited. I'm excited. The title's great. The creatures look great. When you're in that thing, you don't look anything like yourself right now.
I love the feeling I get in that suit, and like it's amazing because just seeing the pictures for me, like the front on becomes this whole sizable creature, but yet in like the profile, it's this like reptilian, slick, streamlined kind of snake-like thing. And so I can't wait to start playing with it because just like, well, with film, as you know, when they change the shot field of view, you can scale your performance to that size and that frame. And it's so nice to play with the subtleties, but then whenever they open it up and it gets a bit wider, to really have that, those physicalizations and to play to the shot and the lighting. That's so much of what we'll be working with because it is indie film and indie budget. It's like, we're going for a look, we're going for a shot. This is the moment when the skin rises up and then you see the eye open through here. It's like there are planned moments that you're going to remember as well as inspire you for the future. We want to be that thing that sticks in your mind.
How about sequels? Can we talk about sequels? Maybe a trilogy? What's next after this one? Are we doing what?
We'll see where we land when this one's all said and done. But definitely expect more from creator director Alan Maxon, and hopefully he'll take me along on the journey.
Very nice. All right. Now, can we shout out any of the cast and crew?
Oh yeah, we can shout out the cast and crew. So we have the lovely Alexandra Bokova. She'll be playing Locke, one of the Lokine lovely leads from the show. We have Daniel Masterson, who plays Cac. He was the one that you saw in the trailer with the big ballooned head. Donald Russell, he will be playing Prefect Lucan, the one that sets us upon our mission, or at least sets them upon their mission. We cannot release just yet the fate of the general, but then we have Kif Vandenheuvel was our voiceover trailer guy, and hopefully he'll come back for a little bit of talk-in lines. And then Richard Dorton, actually, who was one of the heads of Ghidorah, as well as our friend Alan Maxon. He'll be playing a Lokai named Kven, because his Ghidorah head was nicknamed Kevin lovingly for its stupidity.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much the main part of the team. Colin Kelly is going to be our DP. Alan will be the director, and Kaylee Portsmouth will be our BTS in perpetuity.
All right. And that's all really exciting to hear, Hunter. I really appreciate you offering all of this awesome information and just keeping us updated with Alien Planet and just what it's like shooting the film. Can we talk a little bit more about when you guys were making the film, maybe some fun on-set experiences you can share to the audience? We're really excited to hear about it. You know, shooting a film like that is not something we get to hear about. We're all really excited to know maybe some fun, juicy stuff that you can say. You don't have to say stuff you can't, but.
Well, I will say that I just had to trust Alan at all times because we knew the general action and the general beats, but we didn't always know where he was with camera. Like he'd take it and he'd just go away, and we'd be like, he's like, just start, go through the fight, go through the dialogue, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. And so we don't know where to
play up somewhere.
He was hiding through the trees, like catching the leaves and like pulling it on this one shot. And
wow.
Like, okay, and it's like, just do your job and let him do his. And then it's like, when you need to come together, you'll come together and find it exactly. But he's like, dude, we got to roll. Just do your thing. I'll be over here. I'm going to do it from 3 different angles. I'm going to catch him. We're going to go. I'll let you know. I was like, okay, sounds good. The other fun thing was the jail cell you see in the trailer was the bathroom at this lovely house that they had. And it just, when I walked in, I was like, "You got to be shitting me! This is not possible that this is the grimy jail cell." And the way they lit it, the way they did everything with it, it just came out the way it needed to, and I was super impressed. He has an ability to really find a space and transform it into what he needs it to be, and so I'm looking forward to see what he does with the rest of this action.
Well, for those that don't know, a big part of the filmmaking process is allowing that trust between the actor, the performer, and the director, the creator of the project. You have that trust. Like you said, you didn't even know where sometimes the camera would be, but you would have to trust that as long as you do what you're sent there to do, everything else will just organically take place.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just gotta stay in your lane, do your best, know that you're executing what you got to execute, and they're going to make you look good. And at that point, that's why I don't have to ask, like, how was that? Or then it's like, you good? He's like, we're moving on. I'm like, all right, moving on means it's good. Sounds great.
It also says you trust your craft if you're at that point in your career where you don't have to ask, if that was any good. You say, you know what, I've done my best. I've put my hardest work up front, and I think we're moving forward from here. And trust the process.
Always.
Well, all right, Hunter, I really appreciate everything we've talked about today. Maybe we can follow up in the future when you guys release some more content and we can talk a little bit more about it.
I'd love to. Definitely, as we start getting into our production and we figure out what the final character designs look like, we'll let some stuff drop and hopefully we can get back together.
All right, very nice, Hunter. Well, is there anything else you'd like to leave our audience with before we say farewell?
Two little things that I've got that's been cooking. We just had Lucky, that's now streaming on Shudder. I play the man in that, the stabby action. And then Reanime Films is going to be releasing their Naruto arc from Climbing Silver, and I play Hidan, the immortal Katsuki, in that one. So if you like some scythe-wielding action, I'm your guy.
Very nice. Okay, and how can we find you on social media?
Social media on Instagram and Twitter, I am the Hunter C, THE Hunter C. On Facebook, Hunter C. Smith, and my website is huntercsmith.com.
All right, very nice. And you've announced your projects. These are all your current projects that are coming up.
That's right. The rest is Stardust.
All right. And of course, we're shouting out Alien Planet, and it's really exciting to hear what's to come next after that. Well, thanks, Hunter. I really appreciate I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Troy. Thanks for having me. It's been great chatting with you.
All right. Likewise, Hunter.